Good afternoon. Welcome to GrainTV. It's November 7th, 2013. I'm Logan Burgess. To my right here is Brock to help break down the action that we saw in the grains one day before the November WASDE report. Let's jump into fire tip and see here we closed off the day. Corn is down 3/4 cents. Soybeans showing some strength here, up at 11.5 cents. Chicago wheat was down 1/4 penny. Really the only thing to talk about was soybeans, a very quiet trade today for corn and wheat. We did see a good sale to China this morning of 250,000 metric tons for the current marketing year, but take a look here at the chart. The action that we saw today really seemed like it was more technically driven. Most likely we had some shorts getting out of the market that may be a little bit concerned that tomorrow's report isn't going to be quite as bearish as what traders had been anticipating coming into the report. And really this action in the bean market's been quite negative here over the last 2 weeks or so. As you can see on the chart here though, we hit that 200-day moving average. That's the red line. And this looks to be a classic example of what once acted as support is now resistance as we move higher. So not a lot of indications I don't think we can get from today's action in soybeans. We did get the export sales report though today. Brock, do you think the numbers that we saw there, did that have anything to do with that action there?
You know, we had pretty good export sales report across all three commodities,
Yep.
corn, soybeans, and wheat. Wheat and soybeans both came within analyst expectations, so I don't really think that propelled the market higher like we saw. I think it was mostly technically driven for soybeans. Corn, we had another outstanding week of sales,
Yep.
beating expectations there. If you take a look at the chart we've been following all marketing year long, you can see here, this is the corn chart for export sales. The red line is the seasonal pace that we need to meet the current USDA projections. You can see we beat that quite handily over the last couple of weeks. On the year, we're about 205 million bushels ahead of that pace to meet USDA projections. Soybeans, similar story. Another good week for soybeans. Beat the seasonal pace here once again to beat the USDA projections.
Yep.
You can see on the year, we're about 327 million bushels ahead of pace there as well. So pretty good week once again across the board for export sales, and corn was really the highlight again.
Yeah, certainly. So we did get some good numbers out today, but, you know, as you said, Brock, didn't have a huge weighing on the market here. Certainly all eyes right now are focused on the numbers that we're going to be getting tomorrow at 11 o'clock Central Time from the USDA. Let's quickly recap right now kind of where the trade's sitting, what the analysts are projecting out of tomorrow's report. This first slide here details corn. You can see here the left column is what we saw in September. The right column is what the trade's expecting to be reported tomorrow. And as you can see, analysts are expecting about 1 million acres taken off acreage. They're expecting a pretty large increase in yield, over 3 bushels per acre there. And on net, looking for a production figure over 14 billion bushels. I think the big thing to keep an eye on here for corn is going to be that yield number. We know we haven't gotten a report in about 2 months, and a lot has changed in terms of growing conditions over that time period. We have a lot of really well-known analysts right now, private analysts, coming out with bushel per acre expectations above 161 bushels per acre. So I think this 159 is kind of a good benchmark, but certainly a lot of people watching the corn trade right now think that that bushel per acre number could go quite a bit higher in tomorrow's report.
You know, it's a similar story for soybeans as well. We're looking to have the harvested acreage slashed by about 400,000 acres there.
Yep.
The yield is going to move higher by about 1.2 is the expectations from the analysts, and production is going to move up by about 70 million bushels as well.
Yep.
Not as big as revisions to soybeans. That's maybe why we saw some of the shorts taking some of the profits off the table here today.
Yeah.
But it's definitely going to be a number to watch. It's going to be that harvested acreage and that yield projections out of the analysts here as well.
Yeah.
You know, where we're going to see all this actually show up, these production revisions, we're going to see it show up in the ending stocks. If we take a look at those numbers once again, we saw these on Tuesday, but let's just review them real quick again. Corn, the ending stocks looks like the average of the analyst guess is to move higher by about 170 million bushels, soybeans by about 22 million bushels, and wheat to actually be reduced by about 40 million bushels there. So not big moves for soybeans and wheat, but corn really looks like we're going to add to the ending stocks.
Yeah, you know, certainly wheat here is kind of the odd one out where traders are anticipating smaller ending stocks than what we saw in September. In large part, that's due to some production concerns out of the Black Sea region and South America that's pushed some business into the U.S. market here over the last couple weeks. So expect export sales to take a chunk out of ending stocks there for wheat. Corn and soybeans, though, Brock, I know we had talked a little bit about it earlier in the week. We've seen good ethanol production for corn. We've seen good export sales, really, for soybeans in particular, but corn as well. Do you think that the demand side is going to do anything to slow down these large production numbers, or is production kind of the focus of tomorrow?
You know, production is still going to be the focus in this report and probably in the December report as well.
Yeah.
We really don't start to focus on the demand side until later in the marketing year. Like you said, ethanol production has been very good for corn. Corn has been very strong on export sales over the last few weeks in particular, and soybeans have been very strong all marketing year for export sales as well. So I wouldn't be surprised to see some revisions for all three in the export sales category. How big those revisions are, that's yet to be determined, but I think ultimately that what we're going to see out of the supply side revisions is really going to trump these demand side revisions.
Yeah, certainly. Well, with all these numbers here in mind, certainly the trade right now is really in the mindset that we're going to be getting some bearish numbers out tomorrow. Now we're going to have to wait and see what the USDA actually releases. That report's going to be coming out at 11 o'clock Central Time there. If you want live updates leading up to the report, follow us on Twitter. @GrainTV is where you can find us over there. And if you want live quotes for report day, you can visit us at grainhedge.com right now and take a no-obligation free trial of the platform that we use here on GrainTV. That's kind of what we're looking at, though, here for a Thursday, one day before the big November WASDE report. We'll see you back here tomorrow to break down the action.